Steve, who is talking to us from Nebraska. Steve, you are live in the woods in Austin, Texas on Truth Wanted. How's it going, Steve?
Yeah, hi, Dan, Jamie, and Sister Mary. Happy weekend, everybody. Thanks for taking my call. And I was calling to discuss a message in genetic coding which expresses the equation of an Egyptian triangle when factoring out 37 from the structural, componential atomic masses belonging to bioessential amino acids that are sufficiently defined by their codon's first and second base nucleotides.
Yeah.
This artificial.
I'm always saying this, by the way. I'm all about this, Steve.
Yeah.
100%. Anyway, keep going. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Okay. No problem. So I was just going to say that this alien signal in genetic coding proves life was sent to Earth by aliens. Okay. And I just wanted you guys to know that you don't have to sport any Halloween costumes. Just go as yourselves, and you can just say you are the spawn of aliens.
Okay. I just want to point out that you are not a prank call. You are being 100% serious with us right now, right?
This is a serious paper that was published in a scientific journal, Icarus, 10 years ago, and it was published by two scientists, Maxim Makakov and Vladimir Sherbak, and their research was published under the title "Wow Signal of the Terrestrial Genetic Code." So it's totally 100% legit.
Can I just interrupt you there for a second, Steve? Because there's a couple of things I'd like to say, a couple of things I would hope that the direction of this call would go. Firstly, I'm a layman when it comes to things like genetics. If you are compelled by this, one of the things I find wonderful about people who really get behind an idea is that they want to be able to convey it to other people.
Oh, Jamie, I have to apologize. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm not hearing you very well. You're just barely audible. I don't know if it's my phone or...
Maybe, Jamie, you should speak up. Sorry, it's our satellite internet service out here in the woods. I don't know how good we're taking.
Okay, I'll try and speak.
I can hear Dan. I hear Dan pretty well, but I couldn't hear Jamie.
Okay.
Let me try and enunciate a little more then.
That's better.
Okay.
Maybe that'll work.
All right.
So, the people I very much admire, and we have some who are guest hosts for us, who are science educators, are able to take complex concepts that they truly believe in and put them into layman's terms for those of us that don't understand. And I will tell you straight up, Steve, I had no bloody clue about anything you just said. So would you be able to maybe put it into concepts that I might understand?
Okay, sure. So how this message was found was based on the fact that these bioessential amino acids can be the ones that can be defined by the composition of their codon's first and second base nucleotides. And what those are is nucleotides is just like in the genetic code. You have the nucleotides represented by the letters A, G, T. So the ones that can be defined according to what their first, second, and regardless of what their third nucleotide was. When you group those together and you take their core components, they have atomic mass basically of 73, or in contrast. Well, there's one exception, and that was proline that has 74. And then what they did with that is they to unlock the signal, the scientists transferred a hydrogen atom from proline's side chain to its core component. So then they had they standardized their atomic masses at 74 for each of the four I mentioned conical amino acids core structures. And then when you take the atomic masses of these side chains of these amino acids, it's 333, which is 37 times 3 squared. And some of their block code, their core structure atomic mass is 592, which is 37 times 4 squared. And when you take the total atomic mass, it's 925, which is 37 times 5 squared. You take out 37, you get 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. And that, of course, represents an Egyptian triangle. And the reconfigured proline having a standardized core structure at atomic mass of 74, has no known natural occurring function, albeit may serve as a decoder, initializing with 37 being a common divisor for the formulation of recognizable mathematical patterns conveying the message of an Egyptian triangle embedded in our genetic code.
Okay, so
I got the paper up, by the way.
Okay.
I've been reading it this entire time. It's very interesting here. It is published by the journal Icarus, and it is called "The Wow Signal of the Terrestrial Genetic Code" by Vladimir I. Sherbak. It is a paper from Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very it's a thing, and it has been cited 13 times, so it's a real paper. I'm trying to read through all of this, and I'm going to be honest. This is above my pay grade. If Forrest Valkai was on here, I'm sure we could have a great discussion on it. But I am not seeing some of the stuff that you're talking about here. And I do want to ask you about that, because I am seeing the stuff about, where we're talking about the atomic mass and the nucleons and stuff like that. I don't see anything about this relating to Egyptian, triangles and stuff.
It's in the paper, actually, but you have to look. Oh gosh, I read that paper about 3 or 4 times. I can't remember where in there, but it's like what.
What do the okay? Here we go. Egyptian. Oh, actually, I did find it. Those messages also included symbols of arithmetical operations, Egyptian triangle DNA, and other notions of human consciousness. Okay, all right, okay. This is an interesting thing here that I just can't even make heads or tails of, to be honest.
And my first instinct is, why? How can you demonstrate it's not coincidence?
Yes.
And it's just why is it significant? I mean, I could easily say, yes, well, the nucleotides of the genetic genome often come up in the sequence of CAT. CAT, does that mean we are related to cats? It's like, no, it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm not seeing, is this like an actual experiment that has been done? Because this just seems to be a summation of what other people's work is there. It's just...
I think that was a thought experiment when they did the transfer of the proline atom.
Okay.
I don't think they actually did that in the lab.
Yeah, this seems to me, and again, I'm reading this for the first time live on the air, that this is a summation of other people's work, scientific work, right? And sort of proposing a reason as to why we're seeing some of these observations in other people's work. And the hypothesis here is that there is some sort of intelligence signal in this genetic code, I guess.
Can I interject for a second here? Quick question here. What is it about this, though, that you find compelling to believe that aliens are somehow connected to this? Because, yes, we can take numbers and we can play all sorts of games. And I know that as humans, it's our natural tendency to do that sort of thing. And all these things can be interesting. I've seen all sorts of things that say, well, this ties to this and this ties to that. But at the end of the day, where that rubber meets the road, where it really comes down to it, what compels you? Because like Dan, I don't see, and I'm not even going to pretend that I have the scientific background to know what this is definitively. But what is it that compels you? Presuming you're not an expert, are you an expert in this field?
I am not.
Okay, so what about somebody else says something happened and some people saw some things that look kind of cool and they saw some things repeat and they did these things over and over and they rinsed and tried it over again and they still ended up with this magic number of 37. How does that get you to aliens? I'm just a little curious because, look, I'm wide open to aliens existing, but,
Okay. The research done was done by 2 astrophysicists.
Okay.
So they're going to know a little bit more about this kind of stuff than me, of course.
Mm-hmm.
My expertise in biology and physics is 1 year, one college course. So these guys are going to know a heck of a lot more than me. So they think it's extraterrestrial in origin. And then number 2, what convinces me, besides these expert scientists, is a symbol of a triangle, the Egyptian triangle, that precise of a symbol does not naturally occur in nature. That's an artistic symbol.
And I understand that.
Nature would form. That's not a pattern found in nature.
And here's the thing. And if aliens existed, then we could have a discussion on, if we knew that aliens existed, we could have a discussion on whether this was caused by aliens. but we can't even demonstrate aliens existing. So somebody's saying, hey, aliens caused this. Well, couldn't it be something else? Could it be time travelers? Could it be 1,000 other things we could concoct in our head? Because we have nothing to say what did it. We could say, wow, that's cool. That's interesting. That's something maybe even worth exploring further. But that doesn't translate to, oh, well, look at the numbers, therefore aliens. That's where I'm having my disconnect.
And are you implying that they were put here by intelligent aliens on purpose?
No, so let me explain. I've read through most of this.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Let me help out here, okay? Here's the claim that's being made, right? That there is a specific sequence within our nucleotides, within our codons, that seem to imply that they are artificial in origin, that they aren't that they aren't natural, right? And here's one here: artificiality to be considered unambiguously as an intelligent signal. Any patterns in this code must satisfy 2 criteria. They must be highly significantly statistically, and not only must they possess intelligent-like features, but they must be inconsistent in principle with any natural process. Lamarckian evolution driven by amino acid biosynthesis and genomic changes. I guess so. I don't know how they can possibly come to this conclusion with their single fields of study, because this seems to be the result of like a very multidisciplinary form of research here. And I have not gotten to the point in the paper yet, and I don't have access to exactly the signal that they're even talking about. So again, this is like just a really hard thing for me to kind of tackle on a first time basis. But I will say this: if we were to discover that what we're seeing here in this nucleotide sequence, presumably this is in human beings, by the way. I don't see if the paper actually says if it's
it's all life forms.
Okay, they're saying in all life?
Yeah, all
That's
life.
Interesting. So if we found a sequence that we couldn't explain through natural processes, and it seems to be the best explanation is something that's not natural, what about the explanation of just like maybe we don't understand this process yet? Like what about like, okay, there's some things here that like we can't fully account for, because there's definitely stuff in biology that we can't fully account for yet, right? And I don't necessarily
aliens
pull it
of
to
the
aliens
gas scenarios.
Yeah, like I to me, like I feel the same sort of wavelength with you guys, where it's like it's got to be more than just a paper that's going to convince me that it's aliens, I guess, right? I don't know. It has to be a little bit more than that. I don't know. But you seem very convinced by this, Steve. So give me your thought process there.
I mean, I have to agree with the author's conclusion. It's not, critics are going to say, well, this is just numerology. They're just using clever tricks, manipulating numbers around and coming up with a pattern they're looking for. But I don't think it is that, because if extraterrestrial intelligence is going to communicate, they're going to use math. Math involves numbers. So of course you could.
Why
they're going to use it. Wait, hold on. They're going to use it in genetic sequences, though. That seems like a very not super efficient way to communicate things. Also, what are they communicating? I guess the fact that we are artificial, maybe.
Well, they're communicating a symbol and a number.
Okay.
Now I don't know what those mean. Do you guys know what a Egyptian triangle and a 37 would mean? What's the significance of those in the message? You guys have any clue what that would? Because I haven't figured that out. Maybe you guys might be able to.
I don't think that there is a thing there.
No, I wouldn't say there isn't.
Here's the problem with this too, right? Because like this has to go against everything we know about biological history, right? Like our entire ancestry, right? Like everything that we've come to know about the history of human beings and other biological species on Earth is that we're the result of naturalistic processes, right? Of evolutionary processes. And like we're going to be changing over time. I don't know that there is going to be a single sequence that's going to be found in all life that that this paper claims. Obviously this paper isn't doing that research, right? They aren't doing the look into this code. This is like summarizing the works of other people and making a speculation. These aren't geneticists that are coming to this conclusion. This is like a much more broader, multidisciplinary, kind of paper that I just think is more,
And this is the only compelling signal we've received from these so-called
Yeah.
aliens. In lieu of anything more concrete, and also in the face of certain concepts like the Fermi paradox.
Yeah.
And the fact that faster than light travel and the mere existence of aliens intelligent enough to implant a signal of this type into our genetic code would have to have capabilities that would basically defy what we know of the laws of physics.
Yeah. It's not very good communication, too. Again, if we already are like, what does this even mean? Like, we don't even know what the communication is there. I don't know, but
maybe it's a alien copyright notice that they trademarked. They put
that's
inside
awesome.
us, and that's really what we found.
Oh
So
my
they
God,
were all owned.
Man, Info, that's so brilliant. We have copyright in our system. It's like that's how they know that we can't be recreated from other alien species. That's how they prevent AI creations of aliens.
Thing.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh man, that's awesome. I don't know, Steve. We're kind of shit talking here, but I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts about this? Because again, I think at the end of the day, this paper is not enough. I think if we're going to be talking about the significance of genetic sequences, I want to see it from geneticists, not astrobiologists. And I'm not even sure because I'm seeing endorsements from engineers here. I'm not even seeing the astrobiologists. I'll give you that. Maybe I'm not seeing it right, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, of course, more research is absolutely needed. So, yeah, I mean, that goes without saying.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it to you there, Steve. I think we have some other spooky topics that we can get to. Was there anything else that you wanted to add before we let you go?
You guys have a safe, happy Halloween this week, and vote. It's very important. I think that we all vote, and I'll talk to you guys again soon, hopefully.
All right, Steve.
All right.
I like that. Thanks so much for calling.